So let me know how you would like.
You need to take your remarks off and put his underneath so it's ready for him.
So how do I do that? His remarks are where? Copy that.
Make sure that thank you.
Okay.
And then
And I can just store this down here. It's just give someone a time hack so they don't have to look at their own watch. Okay. So I'm gonna wait for a signal. Fantastic. At this time, please find your seats and take a moment to silence or turn off any electronic devices. Throughout today's ceremony, you will be given cues to stand and be seated at appropriate times. As a reminder, during the playing of the arrival fanfare, ruffles and flourishes, and the singing of our national anthem, military members should stand at attention. Our civilian guests should place their right hands over their hearts. The ceremony will begin shortly. Thank you. All right, good to go. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Maryland Air National Guard Centennial Celebration. I am Lieutenant Colonel Brian Timothy, one of the commanders in the 175th Cyberspace Operations Group, and I will be your narrator. We are honored to have with us today, as our presiding official, the Honorable Boyd K. Rutherford, Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. We would also like to welcome our many distinguished guests in attendance today. Shannon Sneed from Senator Van Hollen's office. Gabby Slocum from County Executive Olachevsky's office. State Senator J.B. Jennings. Major General Timothy E. Gowan, the Adjutant General, Maryland National Guard. Brigadier General Edward S. Jones, Assistant Adjutant General for Air. Brigadier General Janine Brickhead, Assistant Adjutant General for Army. Brigadier General Adam Flash, Director, Joint Staff, Maryland National Guard. Additionally, we would also like to welcome all current and retired general officers, commanders, and chiefs in attendance with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party, presentation of the colors by the Joint Base Andrews Honor Guard, and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by First Lieutenant Ashley Hollingsworth, followed by an invocation given by Chaplain Joshua Vanderstel.
Oh, say. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that
star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please stand at ease. You may join me in prayer or observe a moment of silence. Our Father in heaven, today we thank you for the men and women of the Maryland Air National Guard. We commemorate 100 years of selfless service to the citizens and inhabitants of Maryland. We mark 100 years of devotion to the people and ideals of the United States. These high loyalties and allegiances are good and honorable, and so God, in your sight, we celebrate the long-enduring faithfulness of each citizen soldier and airman from the initiation of the 104th Observation Squadron to this very day. We thank you, Father, for the blessing that the 175th Wing is, with creative, talented, tireless airmen. Their work in military uniform is a small tribute to the immense love and patriotism in their hearts. We know the stresses they endure alongside the joys a military life can bring. So God, we thank you for blessing these lives, the lives of each mother, father, brother and sister, son and daughter who have chosen to dedicate themselves to this force. Amen.
Thank you, Honor Guard, Lieutenant Hollingsworth, and Chaplain Vanderstill. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The 175th Public Affairs Office has created a video which highlights the proud history of the Maryland National Guard. Please direct your attention to the screens at either side. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce you to the official party for today's Centennial celebration, the Honorable Boyd K. Rutherford, the Lieutenant Governor of Maryland, and Brigadier General Paul Johnson, Commander, 175th Wing. The Honorable Lawrence J. Hogan, Jr., Governor of Maryland, is unable to be with us today, but he has prepared a special video to commemorate this special occasion. Please roll the video.
June 29th marks 100 years since the federal recognition of the Maryland Air National Guard's first unit, the 104th Observation Squadron, the legacy of which is carried on by today's 104th Fighter Squadron, making the Maryland Air National Guard one of the oldest units in the Air Force. From 1921 to today, the Maryland Air National Guard has been a cornerstone on the defense of this nation and the protection of this state. When we needed you most, you answered the call every single time to protect Marylanders and support humanitarian efforts at home and abroad. Your sacrifices on behalf of our state and our nation are counted in the 27 lives lost in the line of duty over the past century, including 7 who were killed in action. Today, we remember each of these heroes and honor their sacrifices. And we also honor every single one of our airmen who has helped make the Maryland Air National Guard a shining example of the Air Force's core values of service, integrity, and excellence. On behalf of all the people of a proud and grateful state, thank you for your 100 years of service to Maryland and our nation. We are truly grateful.
Lieutenant Governor Rutherford, I invite you to the podium for your remarks.
Well, thank you. And given how warm it is, I will take an extra hour to speak. Well, it's good to be here. Thank you very much, Colonel. You know, it does give me great pleasure to be here in person for the Maryland Air National Guard Centennial celebration. In 1921, just some 18 years after the Wright brothers took their first flight in Kitty Hawk, the Maryland National Guard had fewer than 100 airmen. Now you are more than 1,000 strong. A diverse organization with members who reflect the strength and diversity of our great state. The members of the Air Guard come from different backgrounds and come together to protect the safety, security, and the well-being of all Marylanders. Last month, I had an opportunity to visit here at Warfield, and that gave me an opportunity to take a closer look at the most advanced close air support jet ever built, the A-10 Warthog. And as a matter of fact, I had an opportunity several years ago. I went to the air show in Paris where they had the Warthog there, and a junior member of my staff who's gone on to bigger and brighter things, he was so thrilled to sit in the Warthog, he had said that that was his favorite plane, which some of the other folks that were there were you know, some of the jet pilots were giving him a little bit of a hard time, saying they were a little slower than some of the other planes, but the ground troops all loved the Warthog. The Maryland Air National Guard broke ground as being one of 4 Air Commando units to field perform, test, and develop procedures for the A-10C as well as the C-130J. This is impressive. And the work and accomplishments of today's Maryland National Guard go well beyond aviation. During my last visit, we had an opportunity to be briefed by the ways the Maryland Air Guard leads in the cybersecurity and cyber warfare, developing the skills of our citizen soldiers who work diligently to protect us from threats, both seen and unseen. The Maryland Air National Guard has been instrumental in our COVID-19 response, transporting medical equipment and supplies, including personal protective equipment, to folks who needed it, supporting our test sites and our mobile vaccine operation, and making the mass vaccine site at M&T Stadium in Baltimore run efficiently. You all are part of a vital and extremely important effort to end this pandemic. And you should be proud of the efforts that you have made and your actions, and just as proud as we are in the administration. I would be remiss if I didn't mention your response to emergencies. And I think there was, in the video, it showed the response to the CSX train derailment that was in Rosedale in 2013, and it was felt throughout the entire area. Your security forces helped to protect and secure the State House in Annapolis in the wake of the incident and events of January 6th in DC. The Maryland Air National Guard has grown and evolved over the past century into a highly trained, highly experienced, and highly proficient force. I would like to thank each of you for your service to the people of Maryland and to the United States of America. And with that, I'd like to present a governor's citation. I'm not going to read it, again, in the interest of all the heat, but I will show it to you and present it to the wing. Thank you. So congratulations again on 100 years of service to our grateful state and nation, and we all look forward to see what's in store in the next century. Thank you very much. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point out, and I don't want to diminish anyone who's here, but General Tuxell, it's good to see you, sir. General Tuxell and I served together in a previous administration, so it's very good to see you, sir. Thank you.
At this time, I invite Brigadier General Johnson to the stage for his remarks.
Well, good afternoon and happy birthday. So it's the 104th Fighter Squadron. Let me dispel the rumor, we're not trying to get it to 104 degrees in here, but so hopefully it doesn't get too bad. So I'm excited to see many of the leaders who got us to our Centennial in attendance today. In fact, there are too many here to recognize individually, but I thank you for coming out and enduring the heat with us and being part of our kickoff event. So up until about 4 weeks ago, we had big plans for our Centennial year and a number of events, large-scale things, but due to COVID, we put all that on hold. Until about 4 weeks ago when things started to loosen up, I flipped the switch and I wanted something done today, since today is our actual birthday, and that was important. And it marks, this event marks the kickoff for a year-long celebration of the Maryland Air National Guard's first 100 years. And the fact that so many of you showed up on short notice is testament to your contribution to our success. And I particularly enjoy these events with distinguished leaders like yourselves, because I don't walk around the base feeling young very often. So thank you for that. I want to recognize a few people who answered my call to make today happen. Lieutenant Colonel Timothy, our MC, graciously volunteered after I told him he was going to do it. Major Mayo, she's probably running around wrapping up some things. She's the head of our Centennial Committee. Lieutenant Hollingsworth for our awesome rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, right there. Also like to thank the Maryland National Guard's 229th Army Band. And our wing PA shop for all the videos and the short notice hard work, script changes, and all those things. I want to thank everyone who helped with the setup and prep. And finally, I want to thank Colonel Hunt, who honchoed this entire thing while I was off for the last 2 weeks at PACAF doing my dual hat job. So thank you all. So today is the 100th anniversary of the birth of the finest organization in the Air Force. We've rightly focused our attention on the achievements of the past. In fact, the Governor and Lieutenant Governor mentioned many of them. But I would like to focus on the future and the start to our second 100 years. As we listen to the stories of those who have gone before us and admire their accomplishments, some of us may think that all that there is to be achieved has already been achieved, and our role is only to be good stewards to what those who came before us built. That couldn't be more wrong. In 1921, a handful of aviators began with nothing more than a good idea to form a flying unit in the National Guard. There were World War I veterans among them who had witnessed firsthand the difficulty of building an Air Force from scratch and understood the value of having a trained, ready force in reserve. The wisdom of their vision proved itself 20 years later when the U.S. was drawn into World War II. The situation we face today is not entirely dissimilar. The cyber force we created and have nurtured over the past 20 years is once again proving the worth of the Air National Guard as we're able to recruit and field world-class cyber operators to meet the needs of our state and our nation. From its earliest days as a state headquarters detachment in 2001, Maryland cyber operators have been at the forefront of developing cyber power within the Air National Guard, which is very much in keeping with the accomplishments of the Guardsmen who created the 104th Observation Squadron 100 years ago today. In fact, the parallels are striking. Just as ours were the first state to have a squadron equipped with aircraft ready to conduct flying operations, we were the first state to have a full spectrum cyber squadron. Just as our original flying squadron almost immediately began to expand by adding the 104th Photo Section, the 164th Air Intelligence Section, and the Medical Department Detachment to form the 29th Division Aviation, today that first cyber squadron has grown into the 175th Cyberspace Operations Group, which consists of 2 offensive operations squadrons, 1 defensive operations squadron, and 1 operations support squadron. In fact, Maryland is the only state to have a full cyber operations group. Probably the biggest difference I can think of is that while our original flying organization had 20 years to grow and mature before they mobilized for World War II, on that day in May 2016, when the 175th Cyberspace Operations Group received federal recognition, we announced that it would be mobilizing personnel to support real-world operations. On the horizon, I see a future full of potential. After years of uncertainty surrounding our flying mission, we can confidently move forward knowing we'll fly the A-10 for years to come. But we must maintain constant vigilance, continue to operate at the highest level, and posture ourselves for a future fighter. As sad as it is for those of us who have flown and love the Warthog, there will come a day when the A-10 mission inevitably must sunset. We need to be ready to take advantage of every opportunity for our organization to go after a follow-on fighter mission and ensure the 104th and the Maryland Air National Guard remain in the flying business into the next century. In the cyber domain, we have embraced the concept of information warfare. One of my top priorities is to right-size our IW facilities by constructing a second building on our Fort Meade campus. And just as Maryland has always led the way, once the staffing hurdles are overcome, we will be the first state to stand up an information warfare group by consolidating the 135th Intelligence Squadron, the 175th Cyber Operations Group, and the 175th Communications Flight under a single group commander. Beyond that, who can guess? The possibilities are endless. It is up to all of us, both now and in the future, to continue to execute with excellence and be ready. The challenges we face may be difficult, but I have no doubt that we can and will succeed, just as we have done for the past 100 years on the grit, determination, and devotion of the men and women who are the Maryland Air National Guard. Thanks.
Lieutenant Governor, General Johnson, thank you for your comments. The men and women of the 175th Maintenance Group have also partnered with the Department of the Air Force and the National Guard Bureau to do a special presentation in honor of this event. To tell us more about it, Colonel Wright, Commander, 175th Maintenance Group.
So as commander of the 175th Maintenance Group, I have the privilege to lead the greatest bunch of go-getters you will ever meet. So when I was asked to give a brief history of this paint scheme, I said, sure, but what I'm really going to do is spend some time thanking the guys and gals who made this all happen. So first to the history, what you're about to see harks back to 1921, when Army aircraft were painted olive drab with yellow flight controls. Back then, we weren't as concerned as blending in with the background of the sky, so you saw a lot more colors. So you're going to see on the tails, red, white, and blue of the American flag. Now, if you want to see what an aircraft looked like exactly like that back in 1921, you can Google the aircraft Trusty, and that's at the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. And that's painted almost exactly like what you're about to see. Now, something else that you're going to see on there is the blue-gray patch of the 29th Division. Now, that division, which is famous for storming the beaches at Normandy, it was constituted 4 years before the 104th Observation Squadron. And it was made up of units that came from states that fought on both sides of the war during the Civil War. Hence why you're going to see that blue-gray patch up on the left nacelle of the aircraft you're about to see. Now, something to think about, a project like this doesn't just come together. It happens because of the Herculean efforts of individuals. There's too many to name, but what I want to go through is a couple of folks who deserve some special attention. So specifically, Tech Sergeant Nick Kratzen, one of our crew chiefs. He was the guy who put together the historic research that came up with this paint scheme. He worked with the Air National Guard historian at the National Guard Bureau, and he was kind of the heart and soul behind the whole effort. Now, once we came up with that design, we had to go to the National Guard Bureau for permission to paint this jet the way it is, and once we had that approval, then we had to go find a place for it to get painted. Problem is, there's only 2 locations in the Air Force where we can get that done, and they were both busy. They couldn't accommodate us. So we could have given up right then, but we didn't because defeat is not an option. So Senior Master Sergeant Joe Lamb, our fabrication flight chiefs, came to me and he said, "Sir, we can get this done by ourselves." And I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah, we got this, sir. Don't worry about it." So next thing you know, we had crew chiefs pulling flight controls, weapons troops pulling pylons, fabrication folks basically sanding the aircraft, doing all that laborious prep work to get it ready to paint. And next thing you know, the aircraft was painted. And that happened because we all came together as a team and we made it happen. So there's too many individuals to name, 29 that I can count offhand. But if you were involved, if you had a hand in painting this jet, I want you to stand up. I know you folks are in the back of the room, so stand up.